They're always watching, not with open hostility, but with quiet calculation, waiting for a crack, a reaction, a flicker of emotion they can decode and use against you. In every conversation, every silence, every subtle shift in your tone, they are analyzing. Because once they understand you, they can start to control you. And this is why Machiavelli carved one rule deeper than all others into the stone of power. Never let them read you. Because the moment you become predictable, you become penetrable. The second they can anticipate your moves, your values, your fears, they will tailor their attacks precisely. You won't even see it coming. And by the time you do, it'll already be too late. Machiavelli's power perseverance law isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about mastering opacity, the ability to move through the world like a shadow in daylight. Present but untouchable, visible but unreadable. Because mystery isn't just alluring, it's lethal. The first principle is that emotion is data. So stop giving it away for free. People wear their feelings like open wounds, thinking it shows strength. But Machiavelli would scoff because every emotion you show, every sigh, every twitch, every smile reveals your code. Are you easily flattered, easily offended? Do you chase validation? Do you shrink under pressure? They're decoding you, and they will use it, not now, but later when it matters most. So learn the art of emotional stillness. That doesn't mean becoming robotic. It means becoming unreadable. You can laugh, but on your terms. You can frown, but only when it means nothing. You become the kind of person whose silence says everything and nothing at all. The kind of person who frustrates attackers because there's nothing to grab onto. You are water. You slip through every grip. Second kill. Their assumptions by being unpatterned. Most people are easy to predict. You insult them, they defend. You flatter them, they soften. You ignore them, they chase. That predictability is death. Machiavelli knew that power survives through unpredictability. When no one can tell what you'll do next, they panic. They hesitate. And in that hesitation, you win. If someone expects you to argue, agree. If they expect you to panic, smile. If they expect you to retreat, move forward slowly. You don't need to be extreme. You just need to be off pattern because the brain clings to patterns. When someone can't predict yours, they stop trying. And when they stop trying, you become impossible to control. Third, control your narrative or they'll invent one for you. When people don't understand you, they'll start creating stories, lies, myths, labels. This is human nature. We fear what we can't define. And Machiavelli never left definition to chance. You don't need to tell people your whole truth. You just need to give them a version they can't manipulate. So, craft your persona carefully. Speak less, but with intent. Be calm in chaos. Be polite but distant. Be present but never overly available. Let them wonder what you're thinking. Let them invent stories because when someone's guessing, they're already off balance, and that's exactly where you want them. Fourth, don't be nice. Be strategic. Niceness is predictable. It's often born from a need to be liked, and manipulators smell that desperation instantly. But strategy, that's invisible. Be kind if it moves you forward. Be quiet if it exposes their noise. Help them if it gains you leverage. But never let kindness be your default. Machiavelli knew the danger of being seen as too good. Because people will push the boundaries, test your limits, drain your energy, then discard you once they've figured you out. Your power isn't in being liked. It's in being respected. And people respect what they can't predict. What they don't fully understand. A mystery with a mind. A storm behind a still face. And finally, the most brutal truth is that when you reveal nothing, you own everything. Machiavelli didn't just keep secrets. He was the secret. His enemies feared him, not because they knew his plans, but because they didn't. That's how you must operate. No over-explaining, no justifying, no need to be understood. Every time you reveal something about yourself to the wrong person, you hand them a weapon. Even your strengths can be turned against you if they know them. Let people misjudge you. Let them underestimate you. Let them whisper and wonder. Because while they're trying to read you, you're reading them. You know their fears, their weaknesses, their triggers. You study them while staying invisible. And when the moment comes, you act not with noise, not with drama, but with precision. Because you were never here to be seen. You were here to win. Let them look at you and see a blank page. Let them ask questions and receive only silence or answers so smooth they slip right through their hands. This is how you stay in power. Not by showing your cards, but by becoming the kind of player who makes people forget there even is a game. Machiavelli's power, perseverance law, demands this kind of subtlety. Your strength must not just be untouchable, it must be unreadable. The world will pressure you to open up, to be transparent, vulnerable, authentic. But what they really want is data, information, hooks. Once they know what hurts you, they know how to push. Once they know what you crave, they know how to bait. You're not denying connection. You're denying access. Because real connection doesn't need your entire soul laid bare. And real power never apologizes for its opacity. Now, understand this next rule. Blend in, but don't belong. Machiavelli often warned rulers not to stand too far above the people nor fall too far among them. The same is true for your image. When people feel you're one of them, they drop their guard. But when they realize you're not predictable like them, they start watching you closer. So you blend in, dress like them, speak like them, participate in just enough of their culture or language, but you don't belong. You don't overshare. You don't gossip. You don't reveal preferences. You're not ice. You're fog. They see you but can't grasp you. And when people can't grasp you, they stop trying to trap you because you're not interesting enough to target, and yet too interesting to ignore. Next, weaponize ambiguity. Manipulators and weak minds feed on clarity. They want you to say yes or no, agree or disagree, friend or enemy. But ambiguity, it makes them squirm. And that discomfort is where you draw power. Machiavelli knew that the man who keeps others guessing holds all the leverage. If someone asks you a question designed to trap you, don't answer. Deflect, shift, answer with a question. If they demand your opinion on a conflict, respond with a general truth. If they want a decision now, delay. Create space. Make them fill in the blanks with their own paranoia. And while they're consumed by confusion, you're free. You're in motion. You're not tied down by commitments, labels, or alliances. You become the unknown variable, the one who can't be outplayed because he never even showed up to the board in the first place. Then we come to the most dangerous misstep people make. Overcorrecting after exposure. Let's say someone reads you once. Maybe you flinch. Maybe you react. Maybe you speak too much in a moment of weakness. The instinct is to explain, to repair your image, to prove you're in control again. But Machiavelli would say, don't fix it. Reframe it. If someone sees through you once, don't apologize. Lean into it in a way that makes them question what they saw. Say something ambiguous. Sometimes even masks need to breathe. Or maybe that's what I wanted you to see. Then say no more. You're not denying their discovery. You're corrupting its certainty. You're turning their confidence into doubt. That one crack they thought they saw, now it looks like a mirror reflecting their own confusion. And suddenly they don't know what they know anymore. This is the key to Machiavellian perseverance. You don't repair perception, you hijack it. Let's dive deeper. Study others, but starve them of study. Become obsessed with observation. Watch how people respond when challenged, when complimented, when ignored. Learn how they handle silence. Read what their words don't say. Become a surgeon of psychology. But never let that energy go both ways. Don't explain your beliefs. Don't reveal your goals. Don't disclose your next move. You ask questions. You study. You listen. But when the spotlight turns on you, you smile and pivot. If they push, you laugh it off. If they dig, you praise them instead. You stay a mystery wrapped in politeness. And while they're left guessing about your interior, you're quietly mapping every inch of theirs. This is the art of one-way transparency. Machiavelli's preferred battlefield. Now, here's one few dare to use, but is deadly effective. Occasional disruption of your own pattern. If you've built a calm, calculated, unreadable persona, shake it once in a while, not chaotically, just enough. Suddenly act animated when you're usually cold. Suddenly vanish for a few days. Suddenly express affection, then retreat. Why? Because patterns are comfortable, even unreadable ones. If people get used to your mystery, they stop fearing it. But when you inject calculated unpredictability into your persona, you reset their assumptions. You make them question if they ever knew you at all. And in that mental reset, you regain all your leverage. Machiavelli didn't want to be seen as unpredictable all the time. That's chaos. He wanted to be unreadable until it suited him to be unsettling. And when he made his move, it always landed twice as hard because it wasn't expected. The goal isn't just to stay unreadable. It's to remind them you could be anything. And that's when you become dangerous. When you master this law, when you learn how to preserve power by preserving mystery, you stop playing defense. You stop explaining. You stop performing. You become the storm they can't forecast and the silence that haunts their strategy. They will try to get under your skin, not with brute force, but with questions disguised as curiosity. With jokes that double as probes, with compliments that feel just a little too sharp. The world isn't asking you to open up because it cares. It's asking because it wants access. And access is the beginning of control. Machiavelli's law was never about total withdrawal. It was about selective revelation. He knew that to truly maintain power, you must give people just enough to feel familiar with you without ever allowing them to know you. So, here's the next principle. Be familiar, but never intimate. People should feel like they understand your surface. They should recognize your style, your tone, your humor, but not your core. That's where most people fail. They confuse being liked with being known. And the moment someone truly knows you, they can predict you. And the moment they can predict you, your advantage is gone. So speak casually, joke if needed, show warmth, but never show need. Never show desire you haven't already mastered. Never let them think they can touch your center. You can be warm, you can be human, but your inner workings, they stay locked behind glass. They can see the art, but not the blueprint. Another tactic Machiavelli employed ruthlessly is to let them talk. They'll reveal themselves first. You don't need to speak to dominate a conversation. You just need to listen long enough. Let people fill the silence. Let them talk circles around themselves. Most manipulators and power-hungry types can't help but reveal their own strategy because they believe they're smarter than you. And if you stay quiet, nod, and remain unreadable, they'll assume you're naive. That's their first mistake. The less you say, the more they assume. And the more they assume, the more they expose. Eventually, they start tripping over contradictions, revealing their insecurities, broadcasting their need to be seen, to be right, to be powerful. You didn't out-talk them, you outweighted them, and when the moment is right, you speak one sentence and flip the entire room. This is what Machiavelli did better than anyone. He let others build the fire, then walked in holding the match. Now, let's talk about internal containment. The most overlooked form of self-defense. People believe self-control means don't lash out. But Machiavelli's version goes deeper. It's not just about suppressing reaction. It's about containing truth. Your plans, your doubts, your insecurities, even your excitement must be internally contained. The more emotionally transparent you are, the more exposed your boundaries become. So when you're insulted, you smile. When you're challenged, you observe. When you're praised, you downplay it. When you're doubted, you nod. You don't need to defend what's true. Let them doubt you. Let them underestimate you because silence is a better shield than any argument. The less they know about your emotional triggers, the more protected you are. They'll start probing in the dark, wasting their energy, frustrating themselves, and eventually giving up. Cold ambiguity becomes your armor. You don't react. You register. You don't block. You redirect. And when necessary, you strike. Not to prove a point, but to end the game entirely. Let's sharpen this further with a brutal but effective truth. Give them the wrong read on purpose. This is where you become not just unreadable, but dangerous. Let certain people think you're weak or soft or foolish. Don't correct them. Don't defend yourself. Let them think you don't understand, that you're too slow, too sensitive, too naive. Then act exactly as expected until the moment comes. And in that moment, you reverse everything. You move faster. You speak colder. You make the decision they never saw coming. Machiavelli used this tactic often. Let enemies believe he was just an observer, a theorist. Then, when they overextended, he buried them. When you give someone the wrong read and let them build a false map of you, you control where they walk and where they fall. But to do this, you need discipline. Which brings us to the discipline of emotional economy. Every smile, every glance, every nod should be measured, not fake, just intentional. The world bleeds energy for attention. People post every thought, speak every feeling, and in that desperation for expression, they lose their leverage. You keep your world compact. You don't react to every opinion. You don't share your schedule. You don't hint at your dreams. And if someone asks you what's wrong, you look at them, gently smile, and say nothing important. You are not a mystery to be solved. You are a presence to be respected. And the less you give away, the more they want. But they never get close. Because you're not here to be understood. You're here to endure. That is the essence of Machiavelli's law of perseverance. You don't burn bright to be admired. You burn slow, silent, controlled. So no wind can put you out. You don't show your power. You imply it. An implication is more terrifying than truth. Because truth is finite. But mystery has no limits. You want to become unforgettable? Then learn this. The most powerful presence in any room is the one no one can fully read. Not because they're hiding, but because they don't need to be understood. In a world obsessed with oversharing and visibility, you become dominant by choosing opacity. Machiavelli knew this long before social media, before status games, before the modern obsession with relatability. He knew that the most enduring power doesn't scream. It whispers. It confuses. It makes others lean in, try to guess, try to decode, and fail. This final stretch of the power perseverance law begins with the sharpest blade in your arsenal. Master the art of unfinished sentences. When you speak, don't always complete the thought. Say, well, some people don't understand what's really going on. Then trail off. Or if I told you what I was working on, it might, and then stop. You're not withholding for drama. You're engineering uncertainty because an incomplete thought makes the listener finish it themselves and their own mind becomes your puppet. Machiavelli used this to dominate conversation, not by monologue, but by implanting tension. Your silence invites curiosity. Your quiet pauses create power, and suddenly they're trying to pull information from you while you've already read everything from them. You flip the frame without saying a word. Next comes the weaponization of calm. Calmness isn't just about emotional stability. It's a message. In a conflict, when everyone's emotions are high, you stay still. When someone attacks you publicly, you blink once and say nothing. When you're challenged in front of others, you answer slowly, maybe with a smirk, or even better, a question. Calmness makes people doubt their own aggression. It makes others question who really holds the power in the room. Because deep calm communicates. I'm not reacting because I already know how this ends. Machiavelli would rather be feared for his silence than loved for his performance. If you're always calm, always composed, always unpredictable, you don't just survive chaos, you command it. Then we come to the illusion of closeness. Let people feel like they're close to you while never actually getting there. Give them access to your surface, your stories, your humor, your routines, but never your internal compass. They might know your favorite movie, your opinions on politics, even your daily habits. But they never know your fears, your next move, your inner compass. You give them the shell, not the engine. This is how you build influence without exposure. People feel like they know you, trust you, even admire you, but they're playing with a cardboard cutout. And when they try to use that familiarity to gain leverage, they discover there's nothing behind the curtain, no strings to pull. No pressure points to hit. You are present but impenetrable. Let's go colder. Never reveal your timeline. Ambition is only dangerous when it's invisible. When people don't know what you're working on, how close you are to your next win, or what you're building in the background, they sleep on you. They assume you're idle. And that assumption is your camouflage. Machiavelli never moved in straight lines. He moved in layers. While everyone was watching his words, he was reshaping alliances behind the scenes. While they believed he was waiting, he was already positioned. And when he finally struck, they called it luck because they never saw it coming. Never tell people your goals. Don't announce your next move. Don't post about progress. Let them believe you're passive while you're quietly becoming inevitable. When the result arrives, it looks effortless. That's not mystery. That's domination in silence. Here's another rule that will haunt your enemies. Never let anyone feel they figured you out. If someone believes they've cracked your code, break the pattern. Say something you've never said, reverse a routine. Praise someone you usually ignore. Take a path you normally avoid. This isn't chaos. It's calculated deviation. You're not acting out. You're reshaping the narrative. The moment someone thinks they can map you, they begin to relax. And that relaxation becomes their weakness. Machiavelli knew that predictability invites attack, but fluidity creates fear. When you keep them guessing, you keep them distant. And people don't betray what they don't understand. They fear it. Lastly, Machiavelli's most ruthless truth. Power that's invisible is impossible to kill. If they don't know how you think, what you want, or where your limits lie, how can they destroy you? They can't smear what's undefined. They can't frame what's silent. They can't cancel what never asked for their validation. You become like smoke in a locked room. They try to box you in, but you slip through every crack. You're not above them. You're around them. Always there. Always unreadable. And when the moment is right, when they're certain you're not a threat, you strike. Not emotionally, not dramatically, just clean, quiet, final. Because you didn't just survive by being unreadable. You persevered by being unknowable. And that is the most terrifying kind of power,